Once you've added all of the elements to the document that you need to, we'll zoom out. It's time to distribute the form. But if you just give the form to somebody and you don't give them a way to give the data back to you, well, they might not give it back to you. Of course, they can fill the information in, so they can come in, they can fill in the description. Maybe they ordered some pies, they can enter the number of cartons and whatever, and then they can choose to print the form. Or you can actually build a form so that it's designed to submit the data back to you via an HTTP post, and we'll show you that in just a moment. The third option, though, is to allow them to fill the form in and send the form back to you as is, as a PDF file that's electronic, and then you can work with the form that way. For this, we're going to create 2 buttons, and then I'm going to show you a process that you can use to enable the form to do something very unique and very powerful. Let's start with the button. I'm going to use the button tool, and up here at the top, I'm going to click and drag to create a print button. This is for those people who just want to fill it in, print it out, and send the resulting paper back to me. I'll give it a name. Generally, I'll want to edit its appearance. In this case, I'm actually going to edit the appearance to make it look like a button. So I'll choose a fill color, choose a border color, and actually set the line style to bevel. That will make it actually look like a button. Under Options, I'll give it a label. We'll call it Print. And under Actions, this is where I can add a lot of functionality to these form elements that we haven't yet looked at. An action is something that is triggered once something occurs. First, you'll select the trigger, and in this case, the trigger is mouse up. I can choose from among other triggers. Mouse up, though, means when I click and let go, the action will trigger. The action that I want to trigger is to execute a menu item. So I'll click Add, and the menu item that I want to choose is simply File Print. I'll click OK. Notice that the action is listed down here. I'll click Close, and then I'll want to test it. I'll come over to my preview mode, roll over the button, and click, and it brings up the print dialog box. So that works. That's just a great little way to give your user the ability to quickly print this form without having to understand how to print from Acrobat or Reader. Even though it's easy, this makes it even easier. The next button that I'm going to create is a Submit button, and this is the case where I want to collect the data back from the form without having to have somebody print it. So I'll create a new button, click OK, click and drag, and I'm going to set the option to give it a label, Submit. Click on Actions. The action that I want to use here is Submit a Form. I'll click Add, and Acrobat is asking me here, how do I want the information to go from the form to something else? This is going to be a conversation between yourself and whoever is responsible for the data that this form collects. In many cases, though, you can use HTML. And what this will do is it will actually submit the data from the form as if it were being posted using a web form. All you need then to do is enter the URL, so http:// and the rest of the URL that would point back to the same CGI process or whatever process you use to collect form data using a web form. You can use the same kind of URL here. Acrobat will, when you click the Submit form, send the data back as if you were entering information into a web form. It's a way to quickly get started with PDF forms because most IT departments understand how to collect data back from a web form, and therefore they're not going to have to learn a new methodology for collecting data back from a PDF form. I do have other options, including FDF, XFDF, or the complete document, but these are going to require some programming on the back end to understand how to collect, for example, FDF form data from a PDF form. And that's why HTML is a good place to start. We'll click OK and click Close. Now, when the user is finished with this form, they fill in a bunch of information and they click Submit, Acrobat will attempt to connect to the URL that you've provided and submit the data. Now, of course, I haven't entered a complete URL, and this is why Acrobat is complaining about that. The final method for collecting data from a form is to just have somebody email you the PDF file back. And this is something that works great if you happen to own a copy of Acrobat. If I own Acrobat, you can send this form to me, I can fill it out, I can choose File Save, and then send you the PDF back. However, if you're a Reader user, that's something that you haven't been able to do prior to Adobe Acrobat 8. You would have had to use a Submit or a Print, but the saving function is just not enabled in the free Reader. With Acrobat 8, though, I can select Advanced, Enable Usage Rights in Adobe Reader. What this will do is enable the form so that someone with the free Reader can save it as they're filling it in. This is very, very convenient because it means that if you're working on the form in the Reader and you need to leave the computer or you need to put the form away and pick it back up later, you can save it, fill it in, save it, fill it in some more, save it, complete it, and then just email the form as is back to the person who sent it to you in the first place. However, once it's enabled, some of the editing functionality that you have will no longer be available. I'll click Save Now, and I'm going to throw this onto the desktop, and I'll click Save. If I want to get back to the form so that I can edit it some more because perhaps I didn't finish it, all I need to do is come to File, choose Save a Copy, and what it will do is create a version of the file that is no longer enabled, but it's a version of the file that I can continue to edit. I'll apply the usage rights again from the Advanced menu, and I can move forward that way. So with respect to collecting data, you have three basic options built right in: the print option, a submit button, and now with Acrobat 8, the enabling option that allows someone even with the free reader to save the document and send it back to you whole.